Hello and welcome back to another episode of the CrossFit Harrow podcast, episode number 72. Today we have Mona Advani with us. Mona, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
First question, why CrossFit Harrow?
So you know that I did CrossFit 7 or 8 years ago and I loved it, but I was getting too many injuries.
Okay.
So at that time, I decided to give it up. But because I was having so much fun, it's been on my mind since then. And then actually coming to CrossFit Harrow has been quite a journey for me, because I don't know if you remember, I contacted you in the first lockdown.
First lockdown, yeah.
Yeah, so I was just overcoming a massive injury. I've got a herniated disc. And just before lockdown, I was kind of at home a lot anyway, because I tried to get up off the sofa and my disc just went. So I couldn't walk for a long time. And so I've kind of built myself up. I was doing a lot of walking when I could eventually walk. I was walking, just doing like home workouts and stuff. And then I just thought, you know what, when I used to do CrossFit, it did kind of help me and prepare me for like my day-to-day life. So that's why, and I looked on your Instagram and I really liked the way that you guys break up all the exercises and I think you're really strict about form. And I think that's what I needed. So
okay, that's
how I ended up here.
Nice. And you said about the injury, so how and what did it stop you from doing?
Yeah, so I do have quite a few injuries. I think it all started about 18 or 19 years ago.
Okay,
I had
a long time.
I had a bad car accident. I almost died in it. I was told that the seat saved my life. So I had 2 cords in my spine that were out of place. And then eventually what's happened is I've had loads of treatments. I've had like everything you can think of. I've been to osteopaths, I've been for physio, acupuncture, and it was all helping a little bit, but it's still there. Like if I make any kind of wrong movement, it comes back. So I already had these issues with my spine, and then I think it just followed on to my disc. And on top of that, my siblings and my father, they all have disc issues as well. So I don't know if it's something in the family as well. That could be
hereditary, that part of it.
Yeah. So the herniated disc also came, I was told, from when I started teaching. I was teaching at a college, and I found that I was sitting a lot more than I was used to. It was the part I didn't really enjoy the most. It was the office part.
Who does?
So the stuff in front of the computer, I didn't really like it, but I think for my body, it wasn't good. And I didn't realize that when you have disc issues, you're supposed to move more. You're not supposed to rest as much.
Yes, it's funny. A lot of people say that, I'm not going to do anything. And they sound, when they think we sound crazy, and when we're like, I'm not saying that you have to do a full workout, but you should move. Because movement helps.
Yeah, so when I did it, when it was really bad in lockdown, my osteopath told me you need to start going for walks.
Yeah, because I was going to ask about the treatment, what treatment you were going through.
So with my disc, I've just been going to the osteopath. I've been with the same guy for like over 10 years, so he knows quite well.
How your body moves.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, so and he's the one who tells me. He always encourages me to do like exercise and stuff, which I think is good.
Yeah.
But I think through the years also, I've also learned like simple things like how to pick up boxes and things, because I would literally just bend over instead of squatting and picking a box up. So something simple like that. I've kind of adjusted the way I move myself.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know, I did Ashtanga yoga for like over 15 years as well.
Yeah, I think we spoke, So that's probably helped quite a lot.
That really helped. It really helped. But I do find like now, again, during lockdown, I was doing a bit of Bikram through Zoom.
Yeah.
And I found that it was actually making my back worse. Right. Which I did speak to the instructor about, and she was a good one. She adjusted the movements for me. But I do find that as you do get older, the body responds differently.
Of course.
But it really does help if you have been moving all your life. I think that's a really good thing. My doctors tell me the same thing, because I do have a lot of issues.
Yeah, well, I think that's a lot, like with a lot of things, for whether it's through injury, with pregnancy, older, as people get older, but if you're consistent with movement and physical and daily activity, the likelihood of you recovering from something, whatever it might be, is going to be quicker. Yeah,
definitely. I think the more mobile you are, the better. Yeah. But with someone like me, I kind of sometimes, I don't like to think about age as a barrier.
Yeah.
So I still think I'm 19, 20.
Yes, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although regardless of someone's age, mentally, you don't feel the age that your body might be.
Exactly. So when my daughter sees me like picking up heavy bags, like even like with food shopping, she's like, "Mom, what are you doing? Like, you don't need to do that. Stick it in a trolley," because teenagers are lazy. So, but I'll carry all the heavy bags, and I feel that keeps me going. Although sometimes it can work against me if my back is ready to go or if my neck is ready to kind of pop. So,
because with all these injuries and these kind of obstacles that have been in the way, that there must have been times where like it became quite mentally challenging for you to be like, fuck, another, like it's hurting again and stuff.
Yeah, I think the worst was I had a terrible Ryger attack. I don't know if you know what that is. It's when your body goes into shock and you start shaking uncontrollably, like your teeth start to natter. It was quite scary. That happened to me just like 3 years ago. I had a kidney infection and septicemia, so but I didn't know that I had it. So I was in hospital for about a month. And at that time I wasn't moving, but up until that time I was still going and working out and
doing your day-to-day,
doing my day-to-day, running around, and I had to slow down. And at that time I did really feel it. And I think sometimes, even though we feel restricted, sometimes you do need to listen to your body, that you need to like just give it a bit of a rest. So because I had like a physiotherapist that used to come there. And then he kind of, because I'd done my neck in actually from the Ryger, because when you shake, I think you don't realize you tense a lot. So I had to go through a lot of treatment then. And that was all because of the injuries I'd had before that had nothing to do with my kidneys.
It's almost like trauma for your body, isn't it?
Yeah. So I do feel that, sometimes I've had a lot of drawbacks. It does put me off, like even coming to CrossFit. And I see like other people when they're more able to do things than I am. I don't know, it's really weird. I kind of find it challenging. Sometimes I go home upset, or I feel upset with myself. It's not because I'm really comparing myself to others, but I do feel like, I only managed to do 2 rounds, like, and everyone else did like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think fitness does this to everyone, including myself, including coaches. Like it sets you set yourself up for an expectation that you want to achieve X, Y, and Z. And actually, like, is it really that important that you do like 5? Or is it the fact that you're just taking part and you're being active? Do you know what I mean? So we just set it on ourselves. Like we put this dark, strong cloud above us, and like we have to get this. And if we don't get this, we've got to feel shit about ourselves, or we've got to be unhappy with our performance. And actually, we look at it as like, today was a hard day. I've got things going on, whatever it might be. Done what I needed to. Got a bit of fitness, and that should be a bonus.
Yeah.
But
we
put this expectation on us.
Yeah, I think so, because like even like when I come here, I come with the thought of, just do everything properly, do it slowly, but it never goes that way.
3, 2, 1, go, and the clock goes. So, but that sometimes happens in the environment where, you're around other people, and there's a clock, and sometimes that can encourage people to like move faster or want to do more. It's like, it's fine. Like,
sometimes it's good because it pushes me. I'll do a lot more than I would have if I was on my own.
Yeah, of course.
Or if I wasn't getting that kind of extra encouragement. So,
I would say the biggest thing is just having fun with it, and not that expectation of like, if it says 10 rounds on the board, does it matter whether you get 10 or 7?
Yeah, not really.
Not really. In the grand scheme of things, it's not. But as long as you're doing it and you're doing it with intent, I think that's more important.
I think that's what I'm learning. What I'm trying to kind of slow everything down, like my thought process. And I am like, everyone says I'm like I've got like a rocket in my ass kind of thing. Like I kind of, I do things without thinking sometimes. I just want to get everything done. And I really kind of punish myself. I feel really bad if I can't achieve something, but then I don't sit back and think, how much have you actually done?
Yeah. We're not we don't praise ourselves enough for the things that we do right, or the things that we do consistently. We wait for, a lot of us wait for external motivation, for someone to tell us like, well done, or through a result or a score or something, when actually taking that time out to be like, that was good today, I kicked ass.
I think that way I've taken a step back, because I don't know if you know, I used to teach at a spiritual organization. Again, I started like when I was 19. I taught there for like over 10 years, but it was alongside university and like, doing other jobs and stuff. And it was all voluntary. It was good for me because that's where I found my love of teaching. But I remember at that age, I was a lot more open to, you know, like taking things slower, learning about spirituality and how, you know, meditation is good for you and actually practicing it. So even though I have all the knowledge now, I find that as you get older and life gets in the way,
you have less time to apply it.
Yeah, you have less time to apply it. And, you know, maybe the faith kind of goes where you think, oh yeah, it's all right to, like, you know, take out 15 minutes and just do some deep breathing exercises. Like sometimes I'm like, oh no, I haven't got time for that. You know, I'll go and do something else that I think is more productive without realizing that the meditation is probably
how important that is for you to just take that 15 minutes out aside from everything else.
Yeah. So it's something I need to, I'm working on.
You mentioned about education. You've got 2 degrees.
Yeah.
What are they in?
So my first one is in engineering management.
Okay.
It's a BSc. I did that at University of Hertfordshire.
Okay, wow.
Many moons ago.
Nice.
And that one I literally did because, I know it's going to sound really bad, but I come from a quite, you know, strict Indian family, and education was really important. And at that time, you know, none of the girls in my family had done.
How many girls are there in your family?
There's too many. Like, but in mine, like my immediate family, I've got a sister and I've got a brother.
Okay,
but my sister's younger, like I'm the eldest. So it was kind of like down to me to kind of, you know, do well so that the others could follow. And so I just literally went to uni just to please my dad, to be honest. And it, you know, he was very happy. I learned a lot. I think it's helped me a lot because it opened many doors for me. But there were doors that I wasn't really interested.
Yeah, it wasn't really like your choice that you wanted to go. So you always felt like you had to.
Yeah, so I completed it. I really enjoyed uni and that. And then, as I said, because I was teaching voluntarily, I really wanted to be a teacher. And, you know, I mean, my dad really didn't want that, you know, because like anyone could be a teacher kind of thing. That's what they thought.
It's a very old way of thought process, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to be a doctor or a lawyer to be.
Yeah.
You know.
Was there a lot of pressure then? Obviously, you said strict Indian family, a lot of pressure, education and certain career paths.
I think so, yeah, certainly with my father, and I did listen to him as well. I think in those days you did really listen. You had to listen to your parents, yeah. Now I would say that's quite different, and we give a lot more freedom. But yeah, so then I went on to I was actually offered to go and teach voluntarily because of my voluntary work. And I remember it's really funny because I'd done like a travel course, just part-time, just to help, just because I was bored. And then there I started teaching everyone instead of actually just learning it. I was teaching everyone. And so then I was instantly offered, like, why don't you come and work with us because you're doing really well. Yeah. So then I went on I worked at Stanmore College and I did a PGCE there as well whilst I was there. So that was with the University of Greenwich. That was great fun.
And so you, over this course of time, after the engineering, you decided like teaching, because the voluntary work was where you wanted to kind of move over to.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've had many jobs. Like in between, in between that time, I had great fun. I worked at the airport because that was something else I did along teaching voluntarily.
Well, I suppose if you were working voluntarily, you had to make money somewhere.
Yeah, so I used to work on airside. I used to like do promotions and things like that. Again, it was just a quick, like, easy job, fun job, and I had great fun. And it was really good because I wasn't very confident as a child, and it really helped me open up and, you know, with the confidence.
Meet new people and stuff.
Yeah, I think the job really helped more than anything else.
Did you do your degrees back to back?
No, so I did the engineering degree at 19.
Okay.
And the PGCE I did a lot later, like when I was at college, when I was working there.
So doing one degree is very hard anyway, let alone doing 2.
Yeah, I didn't ever think I'd want to do a degree ever again. Certainly not.
Is going back to education, like teaching that, or, you know, maybe doing a master, is that something that you're interested in doing? Is that something on the agenda?
So I've always loved learning. I don't know why people think it's weird.
Well, I mean, we learn every day, but actually like taking
doing courses and stuff. Yeah, I find that really challenging. But I think when I did do the PGC, it was a lot more challenging because I was in my 30s.
Okay.
So a lot of time had passed since I'd done anything like that.
And like retaining that information and like learning how to study again. Yeah,
and even doing like presentations. You know, obviously when you're a teacher, you're watched all the time, and you have like, I've forgotten what they call it now.
Ofsted.
Yeah, they come and they watch you and all that. So I had to like build my confidence again.
Yeah.
It really helped. It was actually really good. And, and the team was really good there as well. Everyone was very helpful. But then I found whilst I was doing that, I just thought there must be more to life. I know it sounds really bad, but I love the teaching part. I think it's extremely rewarding. Yeah. I taught all ages. I even taught adults and made up my own courses as well. And I used to teach yoga in the evening. So I was really busy. There was no real reason for me to feel bored, but there was a void that needed filling, I think. And then I just thought, you know what? I've always wanted to have my own little business. Why don't I? And then alongside, during the week, I would do a lot of cooking kind of competitions, if you want to call it, with a really close family friend of ours. And what we would do is cook our own dishes, and then family and friends would come round, and then they'd have, so it was called the Tuesday Club. They'd come round.
Right, so you guys made this up.
Yeah, and they'd kind of feast on our food. And then I started watching what he was doing because he's Turkish, and I'd watch what he was doing. Yeah, and I just, and I'm a vegetarian, so I don't. Yeah, okay. So I'll taste the sauces and stuff, and I'll make meats, but I don't eat it. Yeah. So I started fusing the foods.
Okay.
So that's where my next business came in. I asked him if he wanted to join me in working at the markets. I think markets are great to test out any business idea.
Okay.
And so we started at the markets, went all around London.
And how did you start the process of getting into the markets and getting all the stalls and stuff like that? And what were you doing?
So literally you have to apply, and then...
Is that to the council?
Yeah, to your council. And then I realised I had to do a course you have to do a catering course.
Oh, okay.
So I was doing that as well as teaching don't forget I was still at the college, so I was still teaching at college. So I was doing that alongside, but I just thought, I need this. It's, it's easy, that kind of thing. So I did it all. I didn't realise how hard the work would really be. And then I was then working 5 days a week. And
on top of that?
No. So 5 days a week at college, and then 2 days at the markets. So I was working 7 days.
No rest of the weekend?
No rest at all. And then I'd go in on a Monday like a zombie, and everyone would be like, was it a good weekend? And I'd be like, actually, it was excellent. I actually loved it. And we were doing really well. I mean, it was a learning process. It wasn't easy at the beginning. Markets is really different kind of business.
Different people.
Yeah, different people. They wouldn't let us sell what we wanted to sell in the beginning, so we went through everything. We made, you're going to laugh at this, Italian meatballs, and it was not very nice. But anyway, we tried. So we made Italian food. We made hot dogs. We did everything until I'd lost all my money. I actually lost all my money.
Wow.
And then I said, you know what? If you're not going to let me cook what I like cooking, and
is this because they wouldn't let you cook?
Yeah, they said there's just far too many Indian and Turkish foods. So
you had to cook something else.
Yeah, you have to do something else if you want to be in our markets. And then I just told them that I've lost all my money. That's it. I'm not coming back. I can't afford it. And they were like, "Oh, we'll reduce the rent." I was like, "I still can't do it. I'd really lost everything." And then they said, "Okay, fine. We'll let you do your products."
So they gave you that freedom to now cook your food along with your family friend.
Yeah, and as soon as we started, that was it. We had queues to the entrance. It was amazing. It was really good.
Really?
So and then we stayed in the markets for over 10 years.
So what kind of dishes would you put at the markets? What kind of food?
So what I did was, because it was still me who was doing all the main cooking, although he was amazing. We taught him how to make, it was so funny because my mum, my aunts and everyone, we taught him how to make the Indian breads. But because, men are obviously stronger, and we had to make such huge amounts, and we didn't have dough machines and stuff, we couldn't afford it. So he'd make everything himself. So he was the A-class bread maker. And
is this chapatis and naans?
So these was parathas. So parathas is another kind of flat bread. It's not deep fried or anything. Okay. So I tried to make everything as healthy as possible, because I tried to make foods that I would eat myself.
Yeah, well, I suppose a lot of people would associate Indian foods as being
unhealthy.
Unhealthy, quite fattening. Yeah.
So the comment that I would get normally would be that, it doesn't feel heavy, even though it's a lot of food. Because when you're at the markets, I think the culture is the more you give, the more customers you'll get. So, but I think there is a way to give things. So with Indian dishes, the way to give everything, the taste of everything, is something called the thali.
Okay.
So that's where you get one of our breads. You'll get rice, you'll get curries, you'll get dal, you'll get a sweet, you'll get, you know, the savory, like samosas and stuff. So we basically started selling thalis and wraps and things, curry wraps, but everything was fused. So there were some Turkish dishes as well. What we did was we took the famous dishes popular dishes from our countries, and then fused it all with our herbs and spices.
So would that have taken like a lot of like trial and error to get that right?
Yeah, there was a lot of trial and error, a lot of arguments, a lot of...
Yeah, I bet,
yeah. But it was good. It was really all good, because then when we would try something out, if it didn't work, we were really quick to remove it, because we knew we had like another dish in the background, so it was fine. That's why I think at the markets, I learned a lot. And
this is in central London?
Yeah, so we were mainly at, you know, like we tried Camden for a bit. We did in Marylebone, we did a few festivals and a few markets there. And the main one that we stayed at was Brick Lane. Okay. Yeah, that was amazing. And you'd think it'd be difficult because there's so many curry houses on the same street.
I think I've been to that parade where because there's a lot of outdoor things there.
So there's
as
many,
well.
So we do outdoor on Saturdays. That was an experience that I would never like to ever experience again. Really? Yeah, it makes you tougher. I mean, imagine like working in snow, heavy rains, all your equipment gets ruined.
Well, we've done it. We've done it here,
yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it was difficult. And of course, people don't come out when the weather's bad.
Of course.
So then not only have you made all this lovely food, you then have to throw it. It's heartbreaking. So we did go through a lot of ups and downs. But I think that's what makes you stronger. Yeah. And it's what gives you the confidence to maybe take the next step and do something else.
What would you say were some of the lessons that you would have learned from that experience at the stalls? Like business lessons that maybe you've taken forward or could pass on?
I think definitely like with your menu formation. Okay. And what I was thinking was, you know, food that I like. And still, I'll make different food at home. I'll make different food for business, because you kind of get to learn the palate of everyone else. And don't forget, on Brick Lane, you get a lot of tourists. So it's not just locals; it's a lot of tourists as well. So I would feel it would feel great when, like, for example, Indians from India would come and say, you know, this food is amazing, or your chai is amazing. It reminds us of home, and we'd get comments like that.
Yeah, it feels very authentic then, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you'd equally get a lot of, you know, the modern Turks that come from Istanbul, who are quite open to trying, because otherwise they like to just have their own foods. Really? Yeah, so they'd come and they'd try the foods, and they'd be like, oh, this is amazing what you've done with our dish, and you've fused it and you've changed it. And so that was quite nice. Okay. It was good to get that kind of response. And we learned a lot, I think, on pricing.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
It's a hard one, yeah, because there were a lot of traders that would sell at very high prices and give a lot less food. And I'd get really deflated thinking, I'm giving all this food and we're working our butts off, and we are actually making everything from scratch. So that's where we were very different from other people.
Yeah, I think when you get like a takeaway in that sense of like outdoors and stalls and stuff, you kind of want to get like the whole bang for your buck, really, don't you? You want good flavoursome food, but you want a good portion for a good price. Yeah. I think when people go to restaurants or, you know, fancy restaurants, you're expecting to pay a higher premium for less food. Yeah. But when you're kind of like in that market environment, you want a good size takeaway kind of box, because you want that good value.
Exactly, but then there is the problem of the costing, which is something that...
The packaging, the cutlery. Something
stupidly I'd never actually really thought about in the beginning. In the beginning, it was all just fun. Yeah. So I never did any costings of anything.
You just thought, I need it, pay it.
But when we started, you know, realizing that we need to have environmentally friendly kind of packaging, and, you know, they all cost a lot more money. It's far cheaper and easier to buy plastic, for example, but we would get customers that would come in with their own cutlery, and they'd say, oh, no, I don't want that, you know, and I kind of felt embarrassed. I was like, I shouldn't be using this stuff, because it really is a big thing. Like, you know, it's not just what you read about in the news or
some people just don't want to use it at all.
No, they don't want to use it, and actually we shouldn't really be using it. But then I had to start doing costings and then factor in, because it costed so much more money to buy those things. So it was a good learning curve for me. I did reduce my portion sizes because they were ridiculous. I mean, I'd have like literally a group of 10 people, and they'd be like, "Oh no, we'll just get one and we'll share one," and it was really actually disheartening because you think, "No, I want all 10 of you to buy it."
But also when well, yeah, that too. But when you're giving that dish out, I suppose like you don't want there to be any leftover. You want them to completely polish off that takeaway.
Well, even I'd have like students who were coming from the universities close by. They'd say, you know, we take your food and we eat it for the whole week, which was a compliment, but not really, because I'd be like, well, then I'm obviously giving you too much food because you're making it last for a week.
Yeah, that's a lot of food.
Yeah, that's quite worrying. So I had to kind of go back and rethink. And I was really scared, to be honest. I did have to put my prices up. And I did lose a few customers. But then I gained so many more.
Of course.
And then I also had people coming and telling me that we still think that you're charging too less for what you're giving. So, and I was like, well, at the moment, I'll keep it at this because, you know, times were getting tough. I think just a couple of years before, you know, COVID happened, it was already becoming quite difficult. So.
Do you think was that like a trend in the market that people will now kind of, you know, go into fancier restaurants and kind of dining out that as opposed to like the whole outdoorsy stall kind of lifestyle market kind of way?
I don't think so. I think it was the increase in markets. There's too many markets everywhere now, a lot of festivals going on, a lot more traders. And then there's this new concept, you know, like how you have like the box park.
Yeah.
So I was offered a place in Box Park, but I just logistically it wasn't working out for me.
I would imagine that premium for that is quite high.
Yeah. So there's all these places that are popping up. There was another one in London as well, so where it's a lot nicer. I think there was one called Flatiron, I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I've been there, that's nice.
Yeah, so it's all very nice because then they have like music and stuff, and then they have like, they're not actual stalls, they're like little cubicles.
Yeah.
So it's actually a lot nicer. So there was all this,
they're like
so many more.
Aren't they?
They're like pop-ups, yeah. So many more options that then we would like be kind of forgotten about. Of course, tourists would still come. I know that we were in a lot of these tour guides. We'd even had one, it was quite funny. I don't know where they get these pictures from. I don't know who takes these pictures, but there was once of the Turkish guy that I work with. His picture was in the French tour book. It was hilarious. And they came up and they were like, oh, look, this is you. They were so happy they'd found us.
Almost like a celebrity status.
Yeah, it was quite nice, yeah. So, yeah, but it had kind of started slowing down. Because we would only be then busy if there was a festival in the area. But then those festivals would then also provide food.
Yeah, and they'd have their own.
Like, they'd have their own. Yeah, so it was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You told me that you get everything you want, but never when you want it.
Yeah.
I understand what that means, but explain.
Yeah. So like with everything, even with business or like even with health. Like, for example, when I'd had Alicia, that's probably an easier example to talk about. I was quite big. I think I was 17 stone. And I think I just thought I was going to deflate. That didn't happen, obviously. And I believe that I had to work a lot harder because I had preeclampsia. So I had a lot of water retention. I slogged in the gym. I used to cry practically every day because I couldn't eat the foods that I wanted to eat because I got used to eating all these naughty foods when I was pregnant. And it took over a year for me to lose that weight.
Wow.
Yeah, but I kept at it. So that was one example. And I think with anything, like even with education, you know, even like when I was at school, I struggled a lot. I had to take extra English lessons. But now that's probably why my English is so much better. I'm really good at writing and stuff and, you know, very confident. But I think nothing comes really easy, even with the business, like how I told you, you know, we had to do so many different things and I had to lose money before I could actually start even thinking about making it.
That's a very interesting, you get everything you want, but never when you want it. So definitely a lot of life lessons along that.
A lot of life lessons. And I think someone like me, I value everything a lot more. I think if it was too easy for me to get, I probably wouldn't value it as much.
Of course. With all this that's gone on, how have you managed to just keep, like, fitness been part of your life? You've always, it's always been part of your life.
Yeah,
it seems
it's
like
always
you've
been there.
Done so much.
Yeah.
Working so many long hours.
Yeah.
Doing different things. How has fitness? How have you done it?
I think with the yoga, because I was doing yoga anyway, I actually learned it in Bombay.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because it really helped. And this was quite soon. It was maybe about 6 months after my accident, the bad accident that I told you about.
Is that what prompted you to go and do that?
Yeah. And it really helped because it really helped elongate everything in my body. Like, because my neck was really, I think, like scrunched up for a long time. And I felt really restricted in all my movement. So that really helped. And I found that if I practiced every day, I got better and better at it. So that's where that started out. I was a bit of a fanatic in the gym in my 20s. I used to, probably not a very good thing, but I used to train like 7 days a week for like 2 hours.
That is a lot.
Yeah. But, you know.
I suppose you're in your 20s, you feel like you can, you've got the energy.
Yeah, and it was all about the aesthetics, right? Wanted to look good. Wanted to be able to wear the short skirt and have like, you know, the muscular legs and all that. So, you know, it was good because it kept me going. It was all alongside doing whatever I was doing. So I always made time to have some kind of exercise in my life.
Okay.
And then with CrossFit, I do really find that that's the only real form of exercise that does help with day to day. Because especially when I was at the markets and when I was doing CrossFit, it helped. Because there was so many injuries I'd get because you're picking up all these heavy boxes. You know, it's not just about the cooking. You have to set up a stall. You have to take it all down as well.
Yeah, and that takes time.
Yeah, it takes time. It's a lot of heavy work. You know, you finish late and you want to get home, so you do things fast and then you cause an injury. So I think...
And it's just this lifestyle. In London, everything is 100 miles an hour.
Exactly. And I'm still that way. Like even now, like, you know, I run around like a headless chicken. So I have to be careful with the way I do things, even if it's just housework, because I'll definitely do something to myself.
Yeah.
So I think keeping fit has really been really good for me, especially with all my illnesses as well. Like I've had doctors tell me that it's because of the way that, you know, you've been working out for so many years, because they all know it's really helped you and keep it going.
Because you mentioned to me about you had body weight issues and like your fitness diet, and you started to work on yourself again.
Yeah.
What are those? Some of the stuff that you were talking about, those issues that you're having?
Yeah. So you're talking about body weight issues. Yeah. So I was always very big as a child. And I was massive at university because I just enjoyed life.
That was the lifestyle at university.
Yeah. And,
it's almost like, I think I've mentioned this in a podcast before, but that's almost like the known thing when you're going to university. It's like, go drink, go eat, go stay up late. That's just normal.
Yeah, exactly. It's normal.
Normalized,
yeah. And I didn't really think much about my weight until it started causing a problem, like, you know, like with just moving.
I suppose if with those injuries too
that
you've had, that's obviously going to be in addition to that.
Exactly. Like with my back, I remember, not the osteopath I have now, but the one I had before that, he actually told me, he said, your back can't take excess weight. So when you gain weight, you will be in a lot more pain. So you need to bear that in mind. So I always keep that in mind. You know, because obviously it does get harder as you get older.
Yeah.
Because I've always watched what I've eaten. You know, I went through a bit of a phase where I was like, oh, well, I'm going to eat whatever I want to eat because, you know.
Because you must have also a love for food, or the fact of like cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're big foodies. We're always going out to eat. I still love to go out and explore, you know, new places to eat. And I love all types of food. So I'm not one of those who just likes Indian food. And like,
what would you say that your favourite dish is?
I don't have a favourite dish. I have a few favourite cuisines.
Okay.
I love French food.
Do you?
Yeah. And I love Chinese food. I think everyone does, probably.
Minus me.
Minus you, okay, yeah. But again, it's the Chinese that I make at home.
Okay.
It's really weird, yeah.
So the things that allowed you to cook with those foods, the different recipes, the different like seasoning sauces, spices that you can put together to make that Chinese food or the French food.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah.
I think eating out, Pan Asian is probably for me better than Chinese.
Okay.
You know, because I do sometimes I've got quite a few gut issues and I get quite a few reactions with Chinese food from outside. But, you know, I'm always inquisitive. I like to learn.
Yeah, learning new recipes, like foods that blend together, right?
Yeah, so I'm constantly doing that anywhere. Now that we've had so much time with all these lockdowns, I kind of went mad and I cooked everything. I cooked so much that there was no one left to give it to. Like everyone was like, that's it, we've had enough. Like we've had everything. So that went on for quite a while, yeah. So
do you obviously must cook quite regularly then, still now?
Yeah.
Is this like a week, would you find new things to cook and you try and cook them every day? Is this like something you do in spare time?
Yeah, so, I've got a fussy child that needs to be fed.
Right.
And it's really funny because we grew up eating Indian food. That was our staple, right? We had to eat that every day, and it was made in a healthy way. So I always tell her that it is actually the healthiest form of food for you because, I know how to make it and I know it's good for you. It's a lot of greens and stuff. But she won't have none of that. So she likes to have different foods. And if I don't make different cuisine, I wouldn't say every day, but I'd say at least 3 times a week, then I find that she won't eat as well.
Okay.
And I prefer her to eat because now, there's all this Uber and everything. I don't want her to reach out for the phone and order something.
It's very easy to just on your phone, Uber Eats or Deliveroo.
Yeah. And because at the weekends, we're always out anyway. So weekdays, you should be at home eating good food.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so what are the plans for you for the next 6 months outside of fitness? So have you got anything that you have got, goal-wise that you want to achieve, and fitness-wise, obviously? Yeah.
Okay, so I'll talk about fitness in a minute. With Korea, I do have something really exciting going on that I'm working on at the moment that will hopefully help me to feel a lot more prouder of my achievements.
And it's a personal goal that you want to achieve?
Yeah, it's a personal goal. If it works out, it's great. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. It's another lesson to be learned.
Yeah, of course.
So that will probably be something that I'd continue from my work that's been going on in the markets. And then with fitness, I just really want to get back to feeling like my old self, I think. Because I have been doing quite well, I think, coming here.
Yeah, well, you've definitely been consistent. Yeah, of course.
That was a big step for me. But I do find, because I don't know if I have respiratory issues as well. So I'm trying to kind of make my stamina a lot better. I think that's what I need to do as far as fitness is concerned. And I want to become a lot stronger because I was a lot stronger before. And I think that's what happens, right? After 40s, you kind of start to lose your strength. And I need that. I need to have a strong body to continue doing what I want to do.
With the demand of work and home and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
If you were to do this all over, like your whole lifestyle over again, what would you change? What would you do differently?
I don't think I'd do any of it differently because it would not make me the person that I am today. I think everyone has a different life path and this one is mine. And I think great things will come. They already have, and things can only get better. So, no, I wouldn't change anything.
Amazing. Mona, we've run out of time today, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Guys and girls, we'll see you again next week.